Everyone wants to lead, everyone wants to influence, but very few want to master themselves first. Until you rule the kingdom within, you can never rule the world around you. True leadership is not about titles or positions. It's about mastering your attitude, your habits, your thinking, and your emotions. Today, I'm going to show you how mastering yourself opens the door to leadership and influence. Mastering your mind before you manage others is the foundation of every true leader's life. It's the hidden discipline no one sees but everyone feels. You can't pour clean water from a dirty cup, and you can't lead others with clarity when your own thinking is clouded and scattered. Every decision you make, every reaction you show, every word that leaves your mouth first begins in your mind. Your mind is the invisible control center of your destiny. If your thinking is weak, your leadership will be weak. If your thinking is powerful, your leadership will be powerful. People don't follow what you say. They follow the energy of your inner world. Look at the greatest achievers in history and in your own neighborhood. The person who built a business from nothing. The teacher who inspired hundreds of students. The parent who raised a family in difficult conditions. They all had one thing in common. Before they tried to influence anyone, they learned how to influence their own thinking. They learned how to silence the noise of negativity and steer their mental energy like a captain steering a ship through a storm. Your mind is not a playground, it's a battlefield. Every day you wake up, thoughts of fear, doubt, distraction, and comparison try to invade. They whisper that you're not enough, that your dreams are too big, that you should settle for less. And yet, if you want to lead, if you want to rise above the ordinary, you must fight for the quality of your thoughts. You must choose what you will allow in and what you will reject. Leadership starts with the power of saying no to thoughts that don't serve your purpose. Think about your phone for a moment. Every day you get dozens of notifications. If you open everything at once, you drain your battery, you lose focus, and your device slows down. Your mind works the same way. If you don't filter what you allow inside, you'll drain your emotional battery, your focus will scatter, and your life will lag. The leaders who change nations and organizations aren't always the smartest or the richest. They're the ones who've learned how to guard their mental gates. This is why your morning matters. What you do with the first hour of your day programs your mind like software programs a computer. If you fill it with complaints, gossip, or scrolling endlessly through other people's lives, you are handing over your mental steering wheel to chaos. But if you fill it with vision, affirmations, gratitude, and reading something that stretches you, you are taking control of your mind's direction. That's self-leadership. That's how you become someone others want to follow. When you master your mind, you also master your perspective. Two people can go through the same problem. One sees an obstacle, the other sees an opportunity. One quits, the other grows. The difference is not the situation, it's the mindset. This is why great leaders are calm in crisis. They're not superhuman. They've simply trained their minds to interpret challenges as stepping stones, not as tombstones. Consider this. Have you ever been around someone who is always anxious, always angry, always negative? Notice how it drains your energy. Now think about someone who is composed, clear, and optimistic. Notice how it lifts your energy. That's the invisible leadership of mindset. People subconsciously gravitate toward the one who has mastered their mental state because stability is magnetic. Every daily habit you practice either sharpens or dulls your mind. Reading sharpens it. Reflecting sharpens it. Writing your goals sharpens it. Mindless distraction dulls it. Complaining dulls it. Entertaining every fear dulls it. You can't afford to manage others when your own mental habits are unmanaged. Leaders are readers, thinkers, and strategists, not by accident, but by discipline. And here's the truth no one wants to say out loud. Your life right now is a reflection of the thoughts you've been consistently thinking. Your relationships, your finances, your health, your confidence, they're all downstream of your mindset. That's why the richest thing you can ever invest in is not a car, not clothes, not even a business. It's your mental mastery. That's what multiplies everything else. Start small, but start deliberately. Speak life over yourself every morning. Write your vision down and read it out loud until it's engraved in your mind. Guard your environment. What you listen to, who you spend time with, and what you watch are not neutral. They are seeds in your mind's soil. You cannot plant weeds and expect roses. You cannot feed your mind with garbage and expect leadership fruit. Daily life gives you thousands of chances to practice. When someone cuts you off in traffic, that's a chance to master your reaction. When a co-worker criticizes you, that's a chance to master your thinking. When plans fall apart, that's a chance to practice mental flexibility. Leaders don't wait for big stages to practice self-mastery. They do it in small moments, quietly, every single day. Mastering your mind also means mastering your self-talk. That little voice in your head is either your greatest coach or your greatest enemy. If you wouldn't tolerate someone else speaking to you with disrespect, why tolerate it from yourself? Learn to catch negative self-talk and replace it with truth. Speak to yourself like you would to someone you love and respect. If you can hold a vision in your mind while everything around you looks opposite, you're already leading. You're leading yourself through chaos. That's why true leadership doesn't start with titles or positions. It starts with mental discipline. It starts with winning the war inside so you can win the battles outside. And every person can do it. Every person can decide today to take back the steering wheel of their mind. The person who can't master their mind will always be a slave to circumstances, but the person who can master their mind becomes a creator of circumstances. This is why the greatest power you have is the power to choose your thoughts, to direct your focus, and to guard your inner life. That's the soil where all influence grows. Discipline is the seed of trust, because without discipline you are unpredictable. And without predictability, no one can build their confidence in you. People don't just listen to your words, they watch your patterns. They study your habits. They look at how you treat time, how you handle responsibility, how you keep your promises. And when they see consistency over time, they begin to trust you. That trust becomes the foundation of your influence. You can be gifted. You can be charismatic, you can even be brilliant. But if you are undisciplined, you are like a ship without an anchor. Beautiful, but drifting. The power of discipline is that it turns talent into credibility and credibility into leadership. Think of a farmer. He plants seeds every morning at the same time, waters them faithfully, weeds the soil consistently. He doesn't plant one day and ignore it for 3 weeks. He knows the crop grows because of steady discipline, not random bursts of activity. In the same way, when you show up to your commitments day after day, when you handle your responsibilities even when no one is watching, you plant seeds of trust in the minds of people around you. Over time, those seeds grow into unshakable confidence. People begin to say, if she said it, she'll do it. If he's in charge, it'll get done. Everyday life gives vivid examples. When a parent wakes up early, prepares food, works tirelessly, and still shows up to support their child's school events, that's discipline. When an employee meets deadlines, communicates honestly, and stays reliable under pressure, that's discipline. When a friend consistently checks in, keeps promises, and honors your time, that's discipline. And all of those behaviors build trust because they show self-control and respect. Discipline is also self-respect in action. It's saying to yourself, I am a person of standards. I will not sabotage my future by being sloppy today. When you wake up early to work on your vision, instead of scrolling through your phone, you're practicing discipline. When you exercise even when you don't feel like it, you're practicing discipline. When you save a portion of your income instead of spending it all, you're practicing discipline. Each of those acts whispers to your subconscious and to the world, I can be trusted. I am building something stable. Without discipline, talent becomes a liability. People may admire your skill, but avoid relying on you. Think about a brilliant musician who never shows up to rehearsal, or a genius employee who misses deadlines, or a charismatic leader who breaks promises. Their lack of discipline erodes trust faster than their talent can impress. In contrast, a disciplined person with average talent can outperform a gifted person with no discipline because consistency beats bursts of effort over time. Discipline also creates an invisible shield around your reputation. When you are disciplined, you don't make reckless decisions in the heat of the moment. You don't let emotions sabotage your commitments. You don't compromise your standards just to please others. People sense this steadiness. They may not always agree with you, but they respect you because you are the same person in public and in private. That congruence is leadership power. Look at any great leader, athlete, or entrepreneur. Their success didn't happen because of one lucky break. It happened because they built a life of consistent discipline. They learned to do the hard things, even when no applause was coming. They learned to delay gratification and focus on their priorities. This is why discipline and trust are inseparable. People trust you when they see you've trained yourself to follow through, even under pressure. Think about a bridge. When you drive across it, you don't think twice. You trust it because it's been tested. It's stable. It's been built according to principles. That's what discipline does to your character. It makes you a bridge that others can safely walk across. It makes you dependable, steady, and strong under weight. Without discipline, you're like a rope bridge swaying wildly in the wind. Exciting to look at, but dangerous to cross. Daily life offers countless opportunities to exercise discipline. Show up on time even when others are late. Finish the task even when no one is watching. Speak with respect even when you're angry. Pay your bills on time. Keep your promises to yourself. Each small act of discipline lays another brick in the foundation of trust. Over time, people stop questioning your integrity because your record speaks louder than your promises. Discipline also requires setting boundaries. When you say no to distractions, to unhealthy habits, to people who drain your energy, you're protecting your capacity to deliver on what matters. Boundaries may make some people uncomfortable, but they make you reliable. A disciplined person knows their limits and structures their life to maximize focus. That kind of intentional living earns respect and admiration because it shows you are serious about your life's mission. This is why discipline feels like restriction at first, but later reveals itself as freedom. A river without banks becomes a swamp, but a river with banks gains speed and power. Your life without discipline spreads in every direction, but goes nowhere. Your life with discipline may feel narrower at first, but becomes powerful, focused, and unstoppable. People trust a river with banks. They trust a person with discipline. Every time you practice discipline, you are silently telling the world, you can lean on me. You can count on me. It might be unseen at first, but eventually it shows. Your coworkers notice. Your family notices. Even strangers notice. You radiate steadiness. You radiate self-control. And because the world is filled with inconsistency, your consistency becomes a rare and valuable signal. And remember, discipline isn't about perfection. It's about direction. You will stumble. You will miss days. But you get back up. You return to your standards. You recommit to your priorities. That's what separates disciplined people from everyone else. Not that they never fall, but that they never quit the practice of self-mastery. Over time, that practice transforms you into someone others instinctively trust, follow, and respect because they know your word and your actions are one. Emotional mastery is leadership's secret currency because people do not remember every instruction you give them, but they never forget how you made them feel. When storms hit and pressure rises, the person who can stay calm, focused, and centered becomes a lighthouse in chaos. In every office, in every family, in every community, there are people who lose control of their emotions at the slightest stress, and there are people who seem unshaken, even when everything is on fire. The second group earns instant influence because emotional stability creates a sense of safety, and safety attracts trust. People instinctively follow the one who radiates control instead of panic. That control is not luck or personality. It's trained emotional mastery. Think about daily life. You're at work, a project fails, and your boss storms in shouting, blaming, throwing papers around. Everyone shrinks back, creativity shuts down, morale collapses. Now imagine another leader in the same situation who walks in calmly, acknowledges the setback, asks for solutions, and listens with composure. Which one earns your loyalty? Which one would you give your best ideas to? The difference is emotional mastery. Leadership is not about controlling others. It's about controlling yourself so you can guide others effectively. Your emotions are powerful servants but terrible masters. Anger, fear, jealousy, and frustration will drive your decisions off the road if you hand them the steering wheel. But when you train yourself to pause, breathe, and respond instead of react, you take back your power. Emotional mastery doesn't mean you feel nothing. It means you choose how and when to express your feelings. It means you don't allow temporary emotions to cause permanent damage. In a world where people are constantly triggered, the one who can remain steady stands out as rare and valuable. Consider a firefighter entering a burning building. If he panics, people die. If he keeps his head, people live. That's emotional mastery under extreme pressure. Now bring it down to everyday life: a parent whose child throws a tantrum, a business owner whose deal falls apart, a student who faces a sudden failure. In each case, the difference between collapse and comeback is emotional mastery. It's the ability to hold yourself steady, to breathe through the storm, and to act with intention rather than impulse. Emotional mastery also means learning to separate your identity from your temporary state. Just because you feel angry doesn't mean you are an angry person. Just because you feel afraid doesn't mean you are a fearful person. Emotions are data, not definitions. Leaders use their emotions as signals, not as scripts. They ask, why am I feeling this? What is this teaching me? How can I use this energy to move forward? This mental framing turns emotional turbulence into emotional intelligence. Daily habits build this skill. Journaling your feelings, practicing gratitude, meditating, exercising. These are not soft practices. They are leadership training. They build the muscle of self-awareness and self-regulation. When you practice calming your mind in small, quiet moments, you're preparing for the big, loud moments where everything is on the line. You don't build emotional mastery during the storm. You build it before the storm, so you're ready when it hits. Every leader must learn the power of the pause. That split second between stimulus and response is where leadership lives. Someone criticizes you publicly. Do you lash out or do you smile and respond with grace? A deal falls apart. Do you spiral into despair or calmly regroup and plan your next move? The pause is where you reclaim your authority over your emotions. It's the moment you decide, I will not let this situation dictate my character. Another part of emotional mastery is empathy. When you can master your own emotions, you become free to read and respond to the emotions of others. You begin to sense when someone is hurting, when someone feels unseen, when tension is rising in a room. That ability makes you a more compassionate and effective leader because you're not blinded by your own reactions. Emotional mastery creates emotional space, and emotional space creates influence. Think about the difference between reacting and responding. Reacting is automatic, responding is intentional. When you react, the situation controls you. When you respond, you control the situation. The greatest leaders in history were not those who never faced crisis, but those who faced crisis without letting their emotions control them. That is why emotional mastery is leadership's secret currency. It buys you credibility, respect, and trust in moments when others lose theirs. Daily life will test you. A driver cuts you off. Your child spills juice on your shirt before a meeting. A friend disappoints you. Your plans fall apart. Each of these moments is a training ground for emotional mastery. If you practice keeping your composure in small frustrations, you'll be prepared to keep your composure in major setbacks. Leadership isn't forged in boardrooms. It's forged in everyday choices to control your inner state. You also teach people how to treat you through your emotional steadiness. If you explode at every slight, you signal that you can be easily manipulated. If you stay calm, you show that you are not a puppet to others' behavior. People sense this and adjust. They bring you their best ideas because they know you won't humiliate them for mistakes. They tell you the truth because they know you won't overact. Emotional mastery creates a climate of honesty, safety, and innovation. Finally, emotional mastery is about energy management. Your emotions either drain your energy or fuel it. Anger can be destructive, but channeled correctly, it becomes passion. Fear can paralyze, but reframed, it becomes caution and strategy. Sadness can debilitate, but processed, it becomes compassion and connection. Leaders who understand this don't suppress emotions. They transform them into fuel for their vision. They become alchemists of the heart, turning emotional lead into emotional gold. When you walk into a room carrying emotional mastery, people feel it before you speak. Your tone, your posture, your eyes, your timing, all of it communicates calm authority. In a chaotic world, that calm authority is magnetic. People are looking for someone who won't crack under pressure, who won't spread panic when things go wrong, who won't let small problems become big dramas. That's the person they trust. That's the person they follow. That's the person whose influence grows quietly but powerfully over time, because emotional mastery is the secret currency of leadership. Purpose creates influence without effort because people are magnetically drawn to clarity. In a noisy world full of confusion, the person who knows where they are going becomes a landmark for everyone who feels lost. When you live and act from a deep sense of purpose, you stop chasing approval and start attracting respect. People follow lighthouses, not wandering ships. A lighthouse doesn't run up and down the coast screaming at ships to notice it. It stands firm, shines its light, and lets its presence guide others. In the same way, purpose makes you steady, focused, and attractive to the right people without you needing to beg for attention. In everyday life, you can see this truth. Think about someone who knows exactly why they get up in the morning. They don't just go to work to pay bills. They go because they believe in the value of their work. They have a sparkle in their eyes, a conviction in their tone. People feel it, and that feeling draws admiration and trust. Now think about someone who drifts without direction. They may be talented, but their energy is scattered. Their words lack conviction. Their presence feels unstable. Purpose is the difference between a stream of light and a laser beam. One illuminates, the other penetrates. When you know your purpose, your decisions become easier. Opportunities no longer confuse you because you measure them against your mission. You stop wasting energy trying to fit in and instead invest energy becoming who you are meant to be. People notice this. They start asking for your opinion. They seek your advice. They watch your example. That's influence born from alignment, not from manipulation. Purpose also gives you stamina. When storms come, the person without purpose gives up quickly because they were only in it for applause or reward. But the person with purpose endures because they're not working for claps, they're working for calling. That endurance itself becomes a signal of leadership. People look at you and think, if they're still standing after all that, they must know something I don't. That quiet resilience earns more influence than any loud speech ever could. Purpose doesn't just clarify what you do. It also clarifies what you don't do. When you're clear on your purpose, you can say no to distractions without guilt. You can walk away from opportunities that don't fit your mission because you know your mission is bigger than momentary gains. This kind of focus commands respect. Even those who disagree with you respect you because they see you as a person of principle rather than a person swayed by every wind. Daily life gives you countless chances to practice purpose-driven living. When you choose to spend your evening learning a new skill instead of binge watching another show, you're telling your future, I know where I'm headed. When you save money for your dream project instead of spending it on impulse purchases, you're telling your destiny, I'm serious about my calling. When you volunteer for something that aligns with your heart instead of chasing random recognition, you're telling the world, this is who I am. Each choice reinforces your purpose, and each reinforcement builds invisible influence. Purpose also transforms how you communicate. Your words carry weight when they're backed by mission. People can tell when you're speaking from a script and when you're speaking from your soul. When you speak from your soul, your words bypass people's ears and go straight to their hearts. That's why some people can say a simple sentence and move an entire room to action. It's not the vocabulary, it's the conviction. Another power of purpose is that it frees you from comparison. When you know your own race, you stop looking sideways at everyone else's lane. You no longer feel threatened by others' success because you're too busy fulfilling your own assignment. This creates an aura of confidence and generosity. People trust leaders who aren't insecure. They're drawn to someone who celebrates others while walking firmly in their own path. That kind of inner security can't be faked. It comes from purpose. In workplaces, teams naturally gravitate toward the person who carries a sense of mission. When decisions need to be made, when direction is unclear, eyes turn toward the one who is steady. That steadiness comes from purpose, not position. You might not have the highest title, but if you have the clearest purpose, you become the unofficial leader. Influence without a nameplate is the purest form of leadership because it's built on trust and alignment, not authority and power. Purpose also acts as a filter for your relationships. People who share your values and vision will find you. Those who don't will drift away. This can feel lonely at first, but over time it creates a powerful network of like-minded allies. You begin to attract mentors, collaborators, and friends who align with your direction. This network amplifies your impact far beyond what you could do alone. And it all happens because you chose to live on purpose. Purpose transforms your energy. When you're working on something you believe in, you need less external motivation because your internal fire burns hotter. You wake up with ideas. You stay late without resentment. You solve problems creatively because you care deeply. People sense this vitality and want to be part of it. They want to work with you, learn from you, and support you. That's influence flowing toward you naturally, not forced. Finally, purpose creates legacy. The person with purpose doesn't just influence today, they plant seeds for tomorrow. Their actions ripple outward, touching lives they will never meet. Because they lived aligned, they leave footprints others can follow. You see this in teachers who inspire generations, entrepreneurs who build communities, artists whose work outlives them. This is the ultimate influence, not likes, not followers, but lives changed because you stood firmly in who you were meant to be. Everything you have heard today points to one timeless reality. Leadership is not something you chase, it's something you become. When you master your mind, discipline your habits, rule your emotions, and live by purpose, you step into a realm where influence follows you the way shadows follow light. This is the call of greatness. Stop waiting for permission. Stop hoping someone will crown you. Stop expecting circumstances to make you strong. The crown of leadership is already waiting inside you, and the key to unlock it is self-mastery. People are watching you, not your title, not your clothes, not your status. They are watching your consistency, your focus, your courage, your heart. They are watching for the moment you take command of yourself. The world is starving for examples of stability. Everywhere you look, there is noise, confusion, reaction, and chaos. But you can be the calm in the storm, the voice of reason in the room, the steady pulse in a frantic heartbeat. You can become the person others anchor themselves to. When you walk with self-mastery, you become a living message that says, it's possible to rise above your feelings, your failures, your fears. That message is more powerful than any speech you will ever give. You must decide today to stop letting your emotions be the author of your decisions. Decide to stop living by default and start living by design. The same discipline you admire in others is the same discipline waiting inside you to be practiced. The same clarity you've envied in leaders is the same clarity waiting inside you to be unlocked. Your potential is not a mystery, it's a muscle. Every act of discipline, every moment of emotional mastery, every step toward your purpose is a rep in the gym of your destiny. Remember the words that echo through history. He who conquers himself is the mightiest warrior. That's not poetry, that's strategy. Conquer your mind, and you will conquer your mountains. Conquer your habits, and you will conquer your history. Conquer your emotions, and you will conquer your environment. Conquer your purpose, and you will conquer your future. You cannot lead where you will not go yourself. People will follow your example long before they follow your instructions. Show them how a person under pressure still thinks clearly. Show them how a disciplined life creates freedom. Show them how a purpose-driven soul glows with conviction. Let your life become a walking seminar of courage, consistency, and clarity. Every day is an audition for leadership. Every choice is a vote for the person you are becoming. You have to stand up today and say, enough of waiting, enough of drifting, enough of excuses. I will master myself. Say it until it becomes a declaration that shakes your own bones awake. Say it until your habits bow, your fears retreat, your distractions scatter. Leadership is not found in applause, but in alignment. You were born to bring order to the chaos inside you so that you can bring order to the chaos around you. When you build yourself from the inside out, doors begin to open without you knocking. People call you without you advertising. Opportunities find you without you chasing. Influence flows to you without manipulation. That's the miracle of self-mastery. It turns you into a magnet for respect, for trust, for impact. You don't have to fight for a seat at the table because you become the table everyone wants to sit at. The stage you are looking for is your own life. Perform there first. Master your private world, and your public world will expand. Govern your inner kingdom, and the outer kingdoms will invite you to rule. Influence is the fruit. Self-mastery is the root. Leaders are not born. They are built daily through small acts of control, courage, and clarity. This is your moment to rise. This is your moment to choose self-control over self-pity, purpose over distraction, discipline over impulse. This is your moment to become so consistent, so clear, so composed that people look at you and see a living standard. Let your actions declare what your words can't contain. Let your steadiness become your signature. Let your purpose become your perfume. And when history looks back on you, let it say, here was someone who mastered themselves first. Here was someone who turned pain into power, distraction into discipline, chaos into clarity, and purpose into influence. That is the magnificent life waiting on the other side of self-mastery. That is the life where leadership and influence follow you naturally because you have already led yourself there.